Have you ever tried to run away from something you couldn't escape? Not a person, but a calling. A destiny. A divine voice that echoed deep inside your soul. What if I told you that the story of Jonah is not just a tale about a fish or disobedience, but a revelation of grace hidden in the deep? Jonah ran. But he didn't run because he was afraid of failure. He ran because he knew God would succeed. And that truth terrified him more than anything. Stay with me, because the whale's secret is about to change everything you thought you knew. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. A simple sentence with world-shaking implications. God said, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it." But Jonah rose to flee from the presence of the Lord. That's right. He didn't say a word. Didn't ask a question. Didn't hesitate. He just ran. Imagine being so deeply opposed to God's mission that you'd rather leave everything behind than obey. Jonah wasn't confused. He understood perfectly. That was the problem. He knew God's mercy. And he didn't want Nineveh to have it. Nineveh wasn't just any city. It was the capital of Assyria, a violent, oppressive empire responsible for bloodshed and cruelty against Jonah's own people. Think of the worst news headlines you've seen. Multiply that by centuries of terror. That was Nineveh. Jonah didn't want to go because he hated them. And maybe, just maybe, he had reason to. But here's the twist, Jonah wasn't afraid God would destroy them. He was afraid God wouldn't. He says it in Jonah 4 verse 2, "I knew that you are a gracious and merciful God, slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness." Jonah ran because grace was too much for him to bear. Jonah boarded a ship to Tarshish, the furthest place west, a symbol of escape. But the storm followed. And when the sailors cried to their gods, Jonah stayed asleep. Because he wasn't just tired. He was defeated. He finally confessed, "I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, cast me into the sea." Jonah believed his death would end the mission. But here's the irony, his surrender was the beginning of his salvation. And then came the whale. Or the great fish. Swallowed whole. But not destroyed. Suspended in darkness. Isolated, yet held. It wasn't punishment. It was preservation. It was mercy in the form of a monster. And Jonah knew it. He didn't cry out in anger. He worshipped. "Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice." The belly of the whale became a sanctuary. A place of revelation. Here's what few talk about, Jonah's real transformation didn't happen on the ship or the shore. It happened inside the whale. When you're alone, suffocated by your choices, and all you have left is God's presence, that's when vision returns. Jonah didn't just see his need. He saw Nineveh's future. And he saw a God too gracious to give up on anyone, even him. The fish vomited Jonah onto dry land. It wasn't poetic. It was messy. Like purpose often is. God didn't clean him up first. He sent him as he was. Jonah walked into Nineveh, his skin bleached by stomach acid, his eyes weary, his voice trembling. And with just one day of preaching, the city repented. From the king to the cows. Grace triumphed. Again. But Jonah wasn't happy. He sat outside the city, waiting for destruction. When it didn't come, he got angry. God raised a plant for shade, then took it away. Jonah wept over the plant but not the people. God asked, "Should I not pity Nineveh, that great city?" And then, silence. The book ends. No resolution. No repentance. No clarity. Because the question isn't for Jonah anymore. It's for us. We are all Jonah in one way or another. Called. Resistant. Broken. Running. And yet, still loved. God will use whales, storms, and strangers to reroute us back to purpose. The secret isn't that Jonah failed. The secret is that God never gave up. On him. On Nineveh. On us. So ask yourself, are you running? Or are you ready to return? Jonah's story echoes forward into another man sent to a rebellious people. Jesus, too, spent 3 days in the belly of the earth. But unlike Jonah, he didn't run. He obeyed. He took on the wrath so we could receive the mercy. And today, he still calls broken runners and turns them into messengers of grace. If this story stirred something inside you, don't let it end here. Subscribe for more revelations hidden in the Word. Share this message with someone who might be running from their purpose. And comment below, what's the whale in your life trying to teach you? Because the whale didn't come to destroy you. It came to deliver you.